Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Something Something podcast. My name is Eric Kasloff, and with me, as always, is Larry Sands. How's it going, Larry?
Everything is going peachy, man. It's really good.
Really? How
Really.
about them Cowboys, though, Larry? How are they doing right now?
Actually, that's a funny question because when you asked me how's it going, I said peachy, but then you brought up the Cowboys, so let's go ahead and close the show out.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything.
Well, I haven't even watched the Giants yet this season.
I think they won, didn't
They
they?
did.
I
I
don't know.
again, I haven't. It's hard for me to watch sports right now because there's no crowd. Like everyone who listens knows I love wrestling. And hey,
Right.
our friend of the show, Lance Archer, is fighting for the AEW championship in 10 days. So maybe
Nice.
if he wins, we can get him to come back on the show as a
That
celebration.
that would be super awesome. That would be so cool.
Yeah. But
Yes. Yes.
Larry, we have been again, you might notice there is a lack, like we've been saying in all these special episodes, there is a lack of something something podcast
Yeah.
and a lack of smells like teen horror
Yeah.
because we
We
are
sleep all day because we
exactly,
sleep.
I'm playing Doom Eternal all night
Right.
and
Exactly.
sleeping all day. But no, the reason we are, like we've been saying for man, this past year, we are knee deep into pre-production
Yeah,
on
of
Hillsborough
Hillsborough
Road.
Road. Written and
Um,
and directed by yours truly, Mr. Eric Kasloff.
you forgot editing, man. I'm an editor too, man. You got to remember that.
Oh yeah. No, well, but okay, but we yeah, that too.
Well, basically, this week we've been interviewing the cast, and next week we'll be interviewing more of the cast. We've done the Jocks, which was a great show.
Yeah.
But yesterday, man, we interviewed Cadence and Master Bruce. If you
Yes.
listen to the show, you know where that joke is from.
Yes.
And they are going to, like I said, everybody else is in a slasher movie. They're in an Amblin movie.
Yeah.
Like the cute kids on adventure movie. But
Yeah.
today we are interviewing two more of the cast members. My throat's bothering me a little bit. I'm gonna drink soda while you introduce the cast members.
All right, perfect. Okay, everybody. And it's a weird thing because now we're starting to use video, and while we're talking, everybody can see our guests, right? And they're just kind of patiently waiting, which is great. Welcome, everybody. Like some of the cast members of the ensemble, Kelsey Summers and Kaleb Reyes. How you guys doing?
Hello, hello.
Hey, doing pretty good.
I'm
Awesome.
great.
Thank you
Excellent.
so much for
Welcome to
coming
the
on the show.
something about the Oh my
Well,
God!
you
Are
I'm
you
keeping
I
that
got
in. I am not changing
I
that.
no, you
uh,
shouldn't. I've got so many things because we got, dude. Okay. We were talking. So real quick, you guys, before we get in, we had a great like a radio interview, and a couple of days ago, Eric and I, and we were talking about how 2020 has been really a bummer for a lot of people, and I get it,
Yeah.
and maybe for you guys as well, but it's turned really crazy because we get to do our podcast, but not only that, we're super busy with the film now, and
And the
and
secret project, which will be announced, I'm thinking
oh yeah,
any day now, man.
yeah, maybe, I hope,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's really good, and 2020 is turning out to be at the end of 2020 really good and special. And
And the
I'm so
biggest reason is because of these two are two of the biggest reasons.
that's I was yeah.
I've talked about it. The table read we did a few weeks ago was the highlight of my year, guys. just seeing all of your chemistry with each other really perked me up. And I wanted to add stuff, but Larry was like, no, you can't do that, Eric. You can't make it more fun. Like, we were going to have the Pig Boy mobile chasing you guys in one scene, but Larry said, we don't got that in the budget.
You know how much it would cost to have a oink nose on the front of a car with a screaming man going, I'm going to get you, running after you guys. You have no idea how much
Maybe it would
of the
be
budget.
donated. You don't know. That
Would
sounds
it
like it could be a real crowd pleaser.
above or
Let's
below
get into
$12?
it. Huh?
Above or below $12? What do we think?
Yeah,
Right.
way
Just,
above.
just a tad.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just,
Caleb, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you're playing.
Okay. My name's Caleb as well, obviously. I am 18, just graduated this year. I work in the oil field right now, and I enjoy it. Some of my hobby, I really love this video game called Rocket League. I play it way too much,
It's a
and
good one.
I've gotten way too good at it. I have spent, not lying to you, 2,500 hours on this game, people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's bad. It's an addiction. It's ridiculous. But there have been rewards. I am one of the best, I like to think.
You are a legend, if not on the outside, but in your own mind, which is not a bad thing.
Well, that's right.
And
you know,
2,000 hours, so that makes you a master at your craft, a video game.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
But yeah. So my character's name, I can say his name, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. Sorry. My character's name is Ray. He's, from what I've gathered and what I think he would be interested in, and what you've told me, he's a bit of a nerd, kind of like myself.
And me.
And Eric.
Definitely the new thing. So increasingly popular to be a nerd.
Right?
Yeah, but see, all you guys, you just want the participation trophy. You don't know what it was like in the 90s and 80s being a nerd. It's cool now, you know. It was hard back then. We had to put work into it.
Actually, if you guys want to really see what it was like, go look at Revenge of the Nerds, a very massively popular movie of the 80s. So go watch that.
Accurate representation.
Yeah. Well, except that one really horrible scene that would never be able to be done today.
Oh no, we've known.
Yeah, the Dark Vader in the moon scene. But
Right.
back to you guys.
Yeah. So Caleb, actually, it's funny you say that. Kelsey, give us a little bit about who you are and how you got into acting and your character and what you think of your character.
Yeah, sure. So I've been acting for about, I don't actually know, professionally over 10 years.
Wow.
I got started when I was like in grade school. I wanted to be a professional football player, actually, when I was in first grade, but I'm 5'1", and I'm actually taller than my mom. And so my mom very quickly was like, honey, you're built like me. I don't think the whole pro football thing's going to work out for you. And I was like, no, I'm going to be first pro football player, Mom. Like, Dad likes it, and we watch it on Mondays, and I'm going to do it. And she was like, honey, you can do anything, but I don't know if you can do that. And so I was like, okay, well, I was totally lost. Me as my like 6-year-old self, just completely lost. What was I going to do with my life? And I got cast as Mother Pig in the elementary school's production of The Three Little Pigs. And I was like, this is it. I'm like, this is absolutely it. Like telling stories, making people laugh. Like, absolutely, I'm all about it. And my mom was like, that's also a really tough job, honey. Like, I don't know. Maybe you need to do something. Because she was in computers. Like, she's very... and I was like, nope, you don't get to shoot down every dream job. Sorry, Mom. Like, you got your one mulligan and you said no to football. So here we go. Acting it is. And I think she kept waiting for me to grow out of it. And I never did. I like went to TCU and they were super excited because they were like, yeah, scholarship, my whole family, scholarship to TCU. Way to go. That's a good school, highly accredited. What are you majoring in? And I was like, theater. And they were like, no, no, that's not what we had in mind. That's not. And I was like, too bad. You wanted me to go to college. I am still majoring in theater. And so I just never really grew out of it, and then continued to sort of get jobs and hone the craft and learn more about it. It's just, I really love that it's like a never ending, it's just a never ending passion. There's never, ever, ever a limit to what I can learn and all the different characters. And so I'm really excited. So my character's name is Allison. Super excited to get to play her. I really like, one of the things I love about her, she's very much of like a rocker. What was the song? Reputation. I forget who it's by.
Joan Jett, Bad Reputation. In fact, in the playlist I'll be sending you guys, that's her theme song. I selected that.
Absolutely. You mentioned that to me like right after we you offered me the role, and so I went and I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I knew what song it was because Shrek.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
So everybody knows it. I just don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It could have died, or Shrek could have kept it alive. Those were your options.
That's the deal, man. That's yeah. Thank you,
Well,
Shrek.
what shocked me more than what you just said is you have never heard Elvis Costello till I sent you the video of him singing Allison.
Yes, that is true. I don't know what
How,
to tell you. I
how
can't.
did you like it?
I did actually. Yeah, I think I sent you an email and I was like, "This is great."
Yeah,
Send
I
me.
think you did. Yeah, yeah. All right. So, Kaleb, what got you into acting?
Okay. So I'd always kind of been interested, like every little kid's like, I want to be an act. Well, not all of them. Some of them want to play pro football.
It's a reputable profession. Listen.
Hey, I'm all for it. I'm not though, like my body type, as well as you. I could have never done football. I played it in middle school and elementary, and I was smaller than everyone and had to work harder and didn't really succeed, but that's okay. It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
Build character.
Anyways,
Yeah. Very much.
so as a kid, I'm still a kid. Obviously, I'm still really young.
Rub it in, man. Rub it in that you're young. All right.
Growing up, I was a little bit interested, but I never I lived in a really small town, so there was no theater or anything until I moved to where I live now, Odessa. And there's a local community theater here. And my friends said I was like really outgoing and rambunctious and like just a theater kid without ever being in theater, been in theater. And so I was dating someone at the time, and she was like, "Hey, you should come audition for this thing that's called KC Kaleidoscope Company." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." And so I went one day, and they had us do like a talent and perform 2 monologues, and I did them, and then we had an interview at the end. And one of the questions they asked me was like, "What is your dream place?" And they're theater people, so they would assume I would say like New York or maybe, like LA even.
Yeah.
I said Dubai. And then I made a joke that was something along the lines of like, I could say goodbye because I'm going to Dubai. They didn't laugh. I didn't laugh.
No,
I
that
think
was
it's
good.
funny.
It didn't land. But that's, I started there. Then the very next day they had auditions for the next play they were doing, and it was Winnie the Pooh, and I auditioned and got Rabbit in Winnie the Pooh, and that was my first role.
Nice.
And then
There's a Winnie the Pooh play?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I didn't know that. Wow, and I'm a huge Winnie the Pooh fan.
Children's theater, man, is where it's at. There is some just fantastic stuff out there that nobody knows about.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Actually, Eric, here's the challenge for you and Kaleb is Kaleb, you have all these great, amazing, and I say this in a good way, all these ticks that you have like in your own way, if you could bring those to your character of Ray, you don't have to
That
change it.
would be
That all you got to
awesome.
do is read. And then when you throw in Allison or Kelsey, I'm sorry, when you throw in
Okay, happens all
Kelsey,
the time.
Kelsey's character Allison, and just all you got to do is be your cute little self, and you will sell this thing. See, and that's the good part. And I right off the top, it's absolutely amazing that you guys really are your characters. And I give a lot of credit to Eric because as we're doing the readings with you guys, he was texting me back and forth, and he goes, I like these guys, and talking about Kelsey, he's like, no, that's it, we're done. I said,
Well,
okay.
yeah, with the
And
casting, I
mhm,
love telling these stories because we didn't see that many people because we didn't have to. Like, we got people emailing us wanting to schedule things. So we saw you, Kelsey, and I just texted Larry going, like, what everyone was like, yeah, I don't want to see anyone else. She's the part. I don't care what you say.
yeah, yeah.
But he
And
agreed.
luckily I said, okay, do it. No, she's right when it's just right when you guys open your mouth. And obviously looks are like 95%. But maybe no, because talent, you got to have talent because you could look anyway. Ah,
Yeah, it's
see, it's
like I'd
so hard.
rather have a good
You guys have
actress like Kelsey than Megan Fox in the movie.
Oh, well, but Kelsey has it all.
Yeah.
Kelsey
Oh,
has it all, and like when and especially with you, Kelsey, and you, Caleb, and my big thing is you should bring in like to the audition what you have, right, and you show your interpretation. But then Eric goes, "Hey, why don't you try this?" And then I go, "Hey, why don't you try this?" So you're doing it two more different like with redirects, and that's what really sold it.
And the
That's
big
what
thing
really
that we've
and
we've been saying to everyone
yeah,
is your ability to react. While
that's
Larry was doing the lines for you guys, I think Caleb and Joe are my favorite casting stories. We'll tell Joe's in a little bit. I accidentally Skyped Caleb when we were
that's
supposed to talk with someone else, and
that's right.
he was just like, "Hey, can I go? Well, am I ready now?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's have you read now, man."
We we were I forget because we were about to go on, and I think Eric contacted you, Caleb, or you sent back you Skyped us, and you go, "Hey, did you guys mean to call me? I can do this now." And Eric goes, "Oh my God, I think I contacted another actor, and I didn't mean to." And I'm like, "Well, okay." He goes, "No, no, no, we got this other guy." I said, "Okay, well, let me see if he's free because we're doing this other cat, and we might as well have him come on." And so, and it worked out perfect. It worked. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
Wow.
way to roll with those punches, Caleb.
Wow. I
It's
didn't even know that.
yeah.
yeah.
And see, it's
This
amazing
is
to
kind
me
of like
because
the. Oh, go on, Larry.
well, I was just gonna say it's amazing to me because actors, they're a different breed. And believe me, I'm an actor, so I know what it's like. But being on the other side of the camera and seeing the way actors behave and think more, well, we've had some actors go, you know, can I think about the redirect and get back with you? And it's like, not really,
No, not
because
on set.
because
I can't give you a while.
right. That's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, we're gonna do a redirect. Let's everybody take an hour so they can figure
Yeah.
everything out. That
Um,
doesn't happen like that, you
there
know.
was this one girl who wanted to read for you, and I was
Ixnay,
like,
Ixnay. Okay, no,
they're
we
not
don't. It
gonna
was another
listen. They're
character.
not gonna listen.
Are you sure?
Yeah. So, and I was like, hey, listen, can you try doing this? Let's do an ad lib that, I'm the guidance counselor and you're this character. And she said, you're gonna have to give me a few days.
For an improv?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, improv is, I will say to whoever this person's credit is, improv is a different muscle. It is tough and it is a different beast altogether. And some people have it naturally and that's amazing. And most of them end up being comedians. But the people who don't have it naturally, it's hard. Like it's definitely something that you have to learn and work at and practice. I took majoring in acting. I took an improv course actually in college, and I remember one of my best friends now, but at the time we weren't friends. And I had done improv before, so there's like two major rules in improv. The number one is never say no, always say yes. It's yes and is the rule.
Yeah.
And then the second rule is you never pull out a gun. Not like in real life, but I mean like theoretically in the scene, you never like, finger gun somebody and kill
I'm
them.
just thinking of the Michael Scott in The Office when he was doing.
But yeah, so we were doing this. It was like our first day at improv, and she got paired up with a guy who actually was in an improv troupe on campus. He was really good. We were all familiar with him. So we were like, great pairing. She's brand new. She's never done this, and she's a great actress. And he's great, so he'll be able to like guide her and help her. Literally, it was such a train wreck because the entire time he comes up and he was like, what are you doing, digging? And she was like, nope, I'm whatever. And he was like, well, what about that? And she was like, no, I'm not doing it. Like over and over and over and over. She was like, no, that's not what I'm doing. And she was like, no, this person's and then she pulled out a gun and started like, it was so funny. I was in stitches. It was so funny. And it was a great teaching opportunity for my instructor who was like, this is a great time to talk about how this can be very difficult and you have to learn some things. And these are the things to learn. Don't do what she did.
It's like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah. So to that girl's credit, some people really struggle with improv.
Yeah.
So Kaleb, what was like your first acting gig?
The theater.
Okay.
For sure. It was the story of Winnie the Pooh, like being rabbit.
Film wise, have you done any like your first film gig?
This one?
Oh, cute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. You've never died on camera?
Nope.
Oh, we're not saying that he dies in this movie, Larry.
Oh wait, that's right. This is a comedy. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't die.
I don't know. I would.
Yeah.
No one dies.
But I have taken lessons in no, that's not true. Yes, the lessons is true. But my friends and I made a couple of short films that we never produced, put anywhere. We just saved them for ourselves. We actually did. We did put one on the internet, and some of my friends know how to find it. I'm not gonna tell anyone how to find it, but there is one out there. So I mean, I have
used your real name in the credits.
Yeah, cut to me stalking his friend
Right, exactly.
to find his video.
I think we're all gonna be doing that.
Kaleb, how do you spell your last name? I'm Googling it right now.
Reyes. That's what I'm assuming. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah. So this is my first one that I'm not like in charge. That's a weird way to put that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's good. But it's good but see, you're open to like everything. And it's good for actors to be open for everything because especially as an independent film, which I don't know if you guys are aware, this is going to be a very independent film. But it's going to be
more authentic.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And I'm excited because just working with you guys and seeing you guys during the reading. I mean, we're on Skype and doing a reading and the chemistry is already there. And it's such a good and wonderful thing. I can only imagine. And it's like I was telling Eric, I am so ready to do this.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of thinking about it. I'm tired of like trying to do schedules and like,
I've had this thing in my head for 2 years, man, and it's becoming real. But Kelsey, same question. First like film acting gig.
Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know.
Wow.
It's been a while. Because I started with a lot of like extra work, and so like I started there and was like an extra on a Richard Linklater film and some things like that, and so that was
What
fun.
movie?
I forget the name of it because they changed it. When I was in it, it was called The Way That It Was, and then they changed it. I'll
Eric,
look.
do you know Eric?
I'm trying to think.
I know
He
you're
always
feverishly
gives
looking.
his movies different titles, then changes them.
Yeah, so it's when I was in it, that's what it was called, and then they changed it. But I'll look at it. It was about baseball, and I'll figure it out. I'll find it for you and let you know. But anyway, so I that was like where I think I got like my start into some of the film stuff, but that wasn't actually me. I did a couple of short films for like student films and stuff where I was just like various characters. I did a lot of like I do a lot of dancing, like ballroom dancing, country dancing, and stuff like that. So I got into a lot of films that way,
Ooh,
where they
very
needed people. So
My
various.
dad was a professional ballroom dancer, no joke. He like won contests and stuff. He did West Coast swing and everything like that.
that's cool. What?
I remembered it. It's called An Untitled Story About Loneliness. That was my first film
Oh,
I was in. I had like 3 lines, and it was like an independent short film, and I was just like breaking up with a guy. I like literally, it's like the very first scene, and I walk up and I knock on his door and I break up with him and hand him his stuff and I leave. And the rest of the movie is about his untitled story about loneliness.
That's cool. That's
that's
very cool.
awesome.
That's very. What did you learn? Crazy question, maybe not. What did you learn about being an extra on set? Were you the type of actor or like interested in kind of hanging around close to set, seeing what goes on around?
Yeah, that's why I was there.
Good.
I wanted to get a feel for what it was like to be on these like big, massive.
Good.
And
Yeah.
even I actually was I was an extra on Alita Battle Angel as well, because I
Oh,
had the
wow.
opportunity to be, and because it shot here in Austin, and I was like, sci-fi film, yes, absolutely. I
Sign
want to
me up.
know what that set is like, because it was a totally different experience. Even though I was an extra, I was still a nobody. Like it was a completely different experience to be wandering around with a bunch of aliens, and the set got flooded and just crazy things. And so
Oh,
I was really, really interested in learning more about like what it was like to be on these big sets, because up until that point I'd been in short films and small student films, and so they were always very small projects, skeleton crews, that kind of thing. And I wanted to know where I was headed, because I knew that I'd get to the larger set someday, and I wanted to know what that felt like and what they looked like. And I also felt like it would help me quickly learn. It was like a crash course, sink or swim in set etiquette,
Right.
yeah.
because
Yeah.
all I had to do was watch these other people who had been, the PAs and the directors and the, assistant directors, the actors, the leads, whatever, and see, they'd been doing it a lot longer than me, and see what they were doing and what was appropriate and what wasn't appropriate and what could they get away with and what could I definitely not get away with. And it was very, very educational. I recommend it to anybody that's brand new. The bigger the project, the better, but just be an extra a couple of times. And I really do think that there comes a point where it's not worth it anymore, but I think it's a really, really educational starting point.
Agreed. I agree. Excellent. Yeah.
Whenever we hear people talk about being an extra, I always want to give this advice. Do anything you can to make the director look at you and talk to you, because then you become a day player and you get a bump in pay.
Yes, that is very true. I learned in my extras foray, I learned that like, so you have to bring your own wardrobe like 9 times out of 10, and then they pick from whatever options you bring them. And
Yeah.
I would bring like all kinds of things, because I was like, if you look good, they're going to notice you and they're going to put you in stuff and they might bump you. And so I was
Yeah.
always like really, really stressing the outfits that I brought, because that was my chance. Because no one will let you talk to them. They corral the extras into like this little corner where they can't interact.
There's a good reason they do that, because I know some people who have taken Eric's advice and they've gotten kicked off set because they take it to extremes.
Yeah.
It's like hi, and they like here. This is them when the camera starts rolling.
Yeah, they're like
Oh,
poking in and waving to their mom.
right. They're like, yeah. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I agree. Anything that you can do to stand out and make yourself known without standing out and making yourself known,
But
because
even if that doesn't work out, just learning. I mean, I
that
never got bumped up to anything, and I still recommend it, hands down. Over Richard Linklater has no idea who I am, and that is just fine.
he
I learned,
will after this movie.
yeah,
Yes, he will.
Oh snap!
I learned so much. So I recommend it to
Good.
people
Good.
just for the sake of what you can learn. Like sit there and have, and a lot of people, one of my tips here, Kaleb, take this one to the bank. One of my tips is whenever you are on set, a lot of people bring their own material of like things to do. They like read or they talk to other people or they talk to other set, like other cast members or other extras. And my recommendation is like, don't do any of that. Like sit there and listen. Listen to what the people who are on set, like the crew members, are talking about. Like, because that's where you're going to learn. Like the other extras aren't going to help you in your career,
Yeah.
but the makeup person could give you a tip about the PA who could know something about whatever. Like just sit there and absorb the information. Like you're there to learn.
Especially on this film, you can
Yes.
Yeah.
absolutely learn a lot.
So, for next question, Caleb, how into 80s culture are you, if at all?
Not at all. Not I don't want to be that guy,
Yeah.
but I up until this point right now I haven't
Good.
been, but now I am.
Good.
So
answer.
no 80s movies or anything like that?
Not enough. Not really, no. Like
Oh man.
I know
What
it's
about 90s stuff at least? At least give me 90s stuff.
just give me something to like and I'll like it.
Oh,
Um
Early 2000s.
to be honest, I can't
Are you not that good with time? So you don't know what came out when is the problem.
that's
You like some 90s things and you don't even know it.
okay.
you
Okay.
could be on
So
to
lucky
something.
she saved you.
Yeah, I was
Good.
drowning. I
Listen,
was
this is
really
my love
drowning.
interest. I gotta have his back.
Yeah, thanks.
Same question for you, Kelsey. Are you into like 80s culture at all?
Not a ton. I love the so like I was born close enough to have some at least awareness of what was going on. And I have made a point even before this conveniently of like watching some of the older 80s like rom-coms that are just classics that are constantly
Okay.
being referenced.
Yeah.
Like a really young John Cusack and like those kinds of movies for
Say
sure.
anything, stuff like that.
Yeah. And so I've currently got I've got a list of those on Netflix that are being sent to me and I'm just like slowly chipping away at them. But honestly, like being a 90s kid, like I didn't really look back. I think probably because I sort of skipped it. Like I know a lot more about like 60s music and culture because that's what my parents were listening to, not 80s stuff,
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
See, I consider myself more of a 90s kid because that's when I was a teenager, but this movie could only take place in the 80s. It wouldn't work in the 90s. And when I first wrote it, it was set nowadays and I couldn't get past page 15 because I don't understand today's kids. They won't stay off my lawn. I shake my fist and my paper at them, but still they're all over my lawn
You damn kids, get off my lawn.
with your hula hoops and bubble gum.
just leave them alone. They're just playing Pokemon Go in your front yard.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like flicking the thing. Come on, get it. Thanks, Mr. Kasloff.
Right. Someone put a Pokestop in your yard just to piss you off.
Hey, I would be there all day with them playing Pokemon Go.
See, you do understand the kids these days. You're just not realizing that you're still kind of one of them.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
What about horror movies? First to Kelsey, are you a horror movie fan at all?
So interestingly enough, yes and no. My mom was really, really, really into horror movies, but she hated watching them alone. And my stepdad worked late. He worked at a car dealership, so he was always there until like, somewhere between 8 and 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And so when I was like 6 to 10, she was like dragging me into the living room to watch these like horror movies with her because she didn't want to watch them alone. So like, but it was all those like the 90s ones, right? Like The Ring and Ghost Ship and like a lot of those like Changeling, those movies. Um,
The
and I
70s Changeling? What's his fudge?
with the
Or
little
Angelina Jolie.
no,
No,
not
not that one. The one from the 70s. I
yeah,
forget. Ernest Borgnine.
with the red ball and the little
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
Um, but so yeah, those are the movies that I like I'm familiar with, but it just traumatized me. I was like 10, like I was just terrified. And my mom didn't want me to leave. And so I just was there holding my mother's hand while she watched these scary movies. And so when I finally got old enough to be like, "No, mom, I'm not watching that." I like sort of rebelliously was like, "I'm never watching a horror movie with you ever again." And so then somewhere the compromise happened of like now I watch like suspense movies with her. So I'll watch like Get
Okay.
Out, or like
Okay.
When a Stranger Calls, or any of those like suspense movies is much more that's where we met in the middle.
Nice. Cool.
Right. I call it the moment when I was a little kid. I had that moment and I never looked back. For the first grade Halloween party, I was Jason. I scared the other kids and couldn't carry my weapon with me. I was very upset about that. Kaleb, same question. Are you a horror fan at all?
Yeah, actually. And no, as well. I don't want to steal your answer, but it was such a good answer. I kind of have to take some of it. Um, yes and no as well. My stepmom actually would watch a lot of Friday the 13th and the
Awesome.
old stuff, and Ghost Ship as well. Um,
Classic.
One
classics,
of the
right?
best opening kills ever.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that scene wrecked me. Still to this day. It's been 2 decades and I am just wrecked.
Yeah, that's a doozy. But yeah, I started with those and I didn't really watch them that often. I wouldn't choose horror movie. I didn't pick them. If someone was watching them in the house, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll watch a movie. I'll watch it with you. But more recently, I've gotten like into the psychological thrillers, like where you're terrified. They're like Us by Jordan Peele. Um, my favorite movie, probably one of my favorite movies.
Really?
Uh,
Huh.
yeah.
Okay. Is that an A24, Eric?
No, that's a Blumhouse, so they get a
Okay.
pass.
Okay. So we're okay.
If you listen to the podcast we were on, I railed against the A24 horror movies and a bit of the Jordan Peele stuff. A
You
little
did.
bit.
You didn't really rail against it. And I love that's the one thing about like Eric is and about this script. He wants to go like hardcore back to the 80s, just like teenage kids just dying and blood everywhere.
Except
And
not
without really
Except
saying stuff about society. Because you don't really need it because that's when everything in the 80s and people listen to this growing up today they're like no 80s was really bad man you had all this other stuff and did you hear the music and blah blah
Well,
blah
we
and all
weren't
that
constantly afraid Russia was gonna blow us up.
yeah well
That was a little thing, you know.
we were constantly afraid Jason or Michael
was
like
gonna
would
show
show
up.
up that was the thing
Yeah.
or Freddy with
Yeah.
his fingers
Actually, I would have
claws.
dreams about trying to get Freddy to be on his side for him to help me go after people.
I will say that's Eric. One of the things that I loved the first time I read this script. One of the things that stood out to me and that I loved so much was I do feel like there's a dying breed of just like slashing for the sake of slashing and horror for the sake of horror and scares for the sake of scares. I think that there's a group of people out there, and when they want to escape, some of them watch rom-coms that have nothing to do with reality, and some of them watch horror movies that have nothing to do with reality. And the point is to escape and to just unplug from what's going on. And as we have this subgenre of like political commentary horror that's coming in, that's not really unplugging, it's digesting what's going on.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
think I think it's really, that's one of the things that I loved about it is I was like, yeah, this particular sect of horror needs to be saved because it has a place and it has a purpose. People need to have more content where they can unplug from the things. Like, trust me, we've got all the places we can go to find out what's going on and think about what's going on. We're running out of places to get away from that.
Ooh, I
Thank
like
you for
that.
that. Wow, that's like you put way more intellectual thought into Hillsborough Road than I did.
My head just exploded. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. I love that. Yeah, yeah. So Kaleb, what about you? What was your first impression of the script after
I don't like following you up, Kelsey. I don't
You
enjoy
go first
this.
from
I'll
now
tell
on.
you that. All right. Okay. Here's what I thought. Best script ever. Okay. The greatest, best thing I've ever read. I love it. It's
What you
my
just remind
favorite.
me of, did you see the Key and Peele skit about the guy who had to go up after Martin Luther King gave the I Have a Dream speech?
No.
Oh, it is so funny. Look at it. We'll watch it when we're done. I'll play it for you guys.
Yes,
That's
please.
amazing.
That premise is great.
Amazing.
I have a
Really
dream
dive into
that.
the script. That's what I got from this.
Oh
Well,
my.
here's my question. First for Kelsey, then Caleb. How many times have you been given the full script when you were auditioning for a movie? And did it help to get the full script?
So Kaleb, you said you wanted to go first. You want to go first?
I didn't say that. I implied that with
No,
my
let's
facial
have you
expression.
go first then. All right, let's
All
put
right.
him in the Shark Tank.
I've got a chance to maybe be worthy of.
Us all away.
Okay. All right. No, never gotten the full script on an audition ever. But it absolutely helped because I could digest the narrative of the whole story instead of just like this little part and like try to take what I can from this tiny part without knowing what everyone else is going through, what's happening. I feel like that's better for the actor's sake. I understand why it doesn't happen sometimes, but it's absolutely better from an actor's perspective to know what is going on in the entire film script. So.
Mhm. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I don't really get the script very often. It's more common that someone will offer me a role and a contract at the same time and say like, here's the role, read the script, like if you like it, sign the contract and give it back to us. And that happens more often, but here's the role, if you want to audition for it, here's the whole script, like let me know what you think and then read this particular scene. And that was so helpful and I really liked it because for two reasons. One, like Kaleb said, it helped me understand Allison on like a more full scale, but also it gave me confidence going into the audition that I was like, yes, this is a project I want to be a part of, because I've had auditions where I will get the sides and be like, maybe, like from the 5 lines that I'm reading, the writing seems decent and the plot, the one sentence they gave me seems intriguing. And then we'll get into a conversation in the audition and they start, the director will start telling me more things about, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not, sorry, I'm not interested in this plot. Or I'll be like, wow, yeah, I don't want to, I'm just not comfortable, and or whatever it is. And so then I end up sabotaging myself in the auditions because like now I'm 30 seconds into the audition, I'm like, oh, yeah, I wish I'd read the script because I wouldn't have auditioned for this. And now everyone's time has been wasted. So that was really nice. But am I allowed to ask a follow-up question to that?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So on the flip side, kind of like Kaleb was alluding to, was it nerve-wracking for you at all to be putting your like content out there? Were you worried? I mean, the reason, from my understanding, that that's not frequently done is because people are concerned that their story will get ripped off or something. Like, were you worried about that?
That is why you were all watermarked on the script.
Ah.
That is it, because we have an entertainment lawyer who I'm great friends with. And one time this actress put my award-winning short film on her YouTube. And when Robert found out about it, yeah, he just went, yeah, I'm going to put the fear of God into her right now. I was like, Robert, calm down, man. She messed up.
She actually put it on her YouTube?
Yeah, and that's why we didn't get into some festivals.
What a
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really big thing. If things are leaked onto the internet, then you're not allowed to be submitted to festivals. That's absolutely I have had people on the first day of set be like, absolutely nothing ever, just for that exact reason.
And another reason I did it is for you guys. Like you guys were saying, it helped you because on the movie that shall not be named, that, almost made me want to quit filmmaking, the producers only sent out sides. And when an actress came in to read, she didn't understand what was going on. And a big thing to me, like, well, I'll say when we first meet, Allison, she's smoking in the girls' room with her friends. Now, for you to be able to do this, to play her, you have to know what she was doing before she went into that restroom to smoke the cigarette. Kaleb, you had to know what Ray was doing before he was playing chess. And if I just gave you guys a little thing, how are you going to form your character on just a side? It's not fair.
But to play would it be a devil's advocate? I don't know what this comment would be, but
Side.
that's what shows a good actor. Because you do. Actors, I think they get thrown under the bus a lot because, actors are actors, but they go through a lot because again, if it's not a good movie, it's hardly ever the director will go, well, it's the actors that didn't do it. Actually, no, you didn't do too good of a job directing, but nobody wants to mention that. But anyway, but it's almost like, if you give you this piece, that's where the actor gets to be an actor and go, okay, I'm gonna make a decision. I'm gonna decide. I'm gonna make my choices. I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna let it live, and hopefully they'll give me like a redirect. And a lot of times, if this could play different ways, because if a lot of times if they're at least interested in you and they see potential, they will go, wow, okay, that was cool, that was different, nobody brought that before to the role, could you try it like this, right? And sometimes it works with, or against or for, but I mean, but that's again part of being an actor, and that's the stuff that actors have to kind of go through, which is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's similar to improv. That's also just a different muscle. I mean, actors have different skills. Computer engineers have different skills that they work on and they're cultivating different things. Actors also have different skills. And one of them is absolutely auditioning. I
Oh yeah.
explained to some of my friends, especially with like a lot of people losing jobs and stuff right now, and people are going through this horrible interview process. And I was talking to some of my friends and they have, quote unquote, normal jobs. And they were talking about how awful it is to go through all these interviews. And I was like, hi, that's my life. I do that every day, all the time, all day long. It's the same thing. And they were like, but you never hear from people, yada, yada. But it's a skill. It's something that we absolutely work on. And I had, to your point, Larry, I had an experience. I had an audition just a couple of days ago, actually. And I was talking to the casting director. I went in, I did the audition. I had only been given sides as usual, just 2 or 3 pages, and I developed a whole backstory of because I had to know, like you said,
Yeah.
Eric, I had to know why I was there and what was going on and what the situation was. And so it was in a hospital, the setting was, and I was talking about somebody, and the guy asked, the casting director afterwards was like, wow, that was really great. What was your story? And I went, well, I think that she died, and this is, she committed suicide, and this guy just told me, and I'm the one who turned her in for breaking the law, and so I feel like it's my fault. And he literally went, wow, yeah, that's absolutely not what it is, but that really worked. That makes total sense, and it works. And that's part of the skill, is just like, it was interesting because I've never had anybody point blank be like, yeah, that's not how the script is, but good job.
Kaleb, who did you tell first about getting the part and what was their reaction?
Okay, so funny story. Well, yeah. So I told Larry this. Larry and I had a conversation like a week or two ago,
Yeah.
and um,
Without
had
me knowing.
I was just asking questions
Oh, okay.
about
Without me, I'm
stuff
kidding.
and
I'm not
things.
like that.
Okay. Anyways,
Right. Wait, is that a tear? Wait, let me. There you go.
Shut up, Larry.
yeah. So I had actually meant to cancel my backstage subscription, and I got the notification from you that you were saying you told us that you're shooting a film, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I was on my way to the airport to fly back home from visiting my mom in Colorado, and I was like, I had meant to cancel it. I had done everything. I just didn't click submit, and for some reason, I just didn't do it. And I got that message like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And so I got the email. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, I got an email to like audition for something. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, he's gonna send me the script and I'm gonna read it on the plane. I feel like a movie star. I'm reading a script on a plane. Look at me.
Yeah.
And so I read the script on the plane. I like what I saw. And then auditioned, and actually I auditioned in this room. And so I had told my mom and dad or my stepmom and dad and my mom that I was auditioning for something. And then, you guys, I got it, and I was like, oh my! Literally right after I hung up, I was like, oh my god! I was so excited, and they were really excited. They were like, wow, that's awesome! That's amazing. And then I called my cousin because I told him about it, and he was like, what? And we were all like, what? It was a bunch of what, and it was really good. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Well, different version for Kelsey. When you told people you were gonna be in a horror movie, what was their reaction?
It depends on who I told. So when I told my husband, he was like, "You've always wanted to be in a horror movie," and I was like, "I know. Every great actor started in an indie horror film."
Right.
It's
Yeah.
so true, and so it's been on a bucket list because I'm like, this is apparently a rite of passage. So I've got to, got to be in a great indie horror film before I can move on to any other genre. Apparently, so he was really excited. But I told my best friend, and she was like, "That's great. You don't like horror." And I was like, yeah, I know. And she was like, so are you going to not watch your own movie? And I was like, no, I'll watch it. You're just going to hold my hand the whole time.
That's funny. That's great.
But everybody else was just really excited because, I mean, I've been doing this long enough. I've had various victories and things, which has been great. But yeah, that was, this is my second horror film to be cast in, but the first one never got greenlighted. So.
Oh, wow.
Wait a minute. Wait, you heard we're greenlit?
Well,
What?
Wait, what?
You're actually moving forward with it. The other one I got cast in, and then they sent me a contract, and then they were like, cool, we'll send you the script, and I never heard from them again 2 years later.
That's the thing. I keep telling Eric. Eric and I talk about this all the time. And I'm super, I guess because I've been through it, because you get stuff as actors. You go to audition, you take all this time, you go to all these callbacks, and then you're like, oh man, yeah, you're cast. And you're like, okay. And then
Crickets.
yeah, you try to call, there's no answer, the phone's been disconnected, and you're like, oh well, I guess that's what it is. And I
there
keep
were
telling,
movies, and they're all dead now.
right. And I
That's
keep
why-
telling Eric, I keep telling Eric that it's so important to me, and I know it is for Eric too, because I mean, everybody that's been in entertainment has stuff like this. It just falls through. And Eric and I, we're adamant about doing this horror film because and it's like I was talking to Kaleb. It's everything happens for a reason. And he didn't cancel his subscription. He's on right now as the character. Kelsey, it's just everybody that we've had the pleasure to audition literally was the first person to audition and was literally cast on the Skype, the audition. And because you just have a feeling, right? And it's meant to be. And Eric and I, every time we talk, it's like, dude, it's somehow it's easy in a way because we're just doing it, you know? And it's so important to me to not only like do it for you guys, but really do it for Eric too, and do it for myself because this
Oh,
is such a
thank
good,
you.
fun thing. And you know what? I'm a firm believer in putting it out to the world. This is going to be the kickoff to all our careers. It really, really is. And I'm happy to say that. And look, you guys, through Skype, look at your guys' eyeballs
The
and
thing
be, and say that. So yeah, there you go. Right up, right,
the thing
right,
that's
right.
been so amazing for me is, again, I started writing this 2 years ago. It's gone through so many different drafts, and I've done other projects, since then, but getting to see these characters come to life, and again, we talk about the table reads so much, and we're going to do others as, time comes along, but that table read, other than Ghost of Tsushima coming out, was the best thing that happened to me all year.
One of the things I love about working with the two of you is it's not common, at least in my experience, I haven't gotten to work with a lot of writer, director, producer, people that have been there from the very beginning. I've been on a lot of projects where the director was hired in and and the writer's like off writing something else now, they're doing their own thing. And so as an actor, like I don't regularly get to hear the feedback of the writer being like, this is my baby and you're giving it life. And it's so much fun. As like I love that film is such a collaborative art, but I don't normally as an actor get to experience the mutual joy of like bringing this character to life, because I love bringing a character to life, but I never really get to see the feedback of the writer being like, you're the thing, you did this is
Yeah.
this is even better than what I, or whatever, like, and it's so much fun to get, like, your passion is just so infectious, it's just
Thank
awesome,
you
I love
so
it.
much.
And I think it's going to be a huge component of what makes this film special, because once that energy is on set, all of us are just
Yeah.
going to be rocking and rolling.
Ooh, I love that. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
do you have any other? Because I have one quick question for everyone. Do you have one before I ask, Larry?
Who, me? No,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want to go. I want to go.
Okay. Speak vaguely. What is one scene you can't wait to see happen?
Hmm.
Well, since no one dies, I don't know what to, I
Yeah.
can't talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or the thing with the thing does the thing.
Oh, I can't wait
Exactly.
for that one.
Right. That's what I'm
Um,
saying. That's what I'm.
Cadence and Bruce were saying they can't wait to see Alex Williamson for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the
What?
bus driver. He's the comedic bus driver that
No,
will come
we've
in.
been
Remember,
saying that he's the villain of the movie. That was the big thing on Baron's show.
Eric? Okay, never mind. That was just I
Yeah.
was trying
Yeah.
to.
I one
Spoiler
thing
alert.
Valiant
I'll
effort.
tell you guys now is I think what will get everybody's reaction. What if we don't let Bruce and Cadence see Alex Williamson till they do the scene with him?
I think that would be great.
I think that's a good idea.
I think it's awesome. I think to answer your question, the scene that I like, this will just tell you, for those of you who know what this scene is, it'll tell you a little bit about me and my heart. I cannot wait to see the post-credit scene.
Okay.
I cannot wait for that scene. I'm so excited. That's the one that I just can't wait to watch.
It's gonna be
I
awesome.
got teary-eyed with the ambulance scenes as I wrote them.
I so can envision that. It takes very little imagination for me to envision you just weeping over these precious scenes that you have written, because I've read them and they're so sweet.
As he was typing, it's like that commercial. As he's typing, his on his computer, tears were falling and typing.
I
all
wrote
the
another
dialogue.
version that I'll read you guys when we're done, but it would only work if we changed the season of the movie. But I liked it so much I'm gonna save it for maybe another movie.
You mean like
This
a
one
Hallmark
scene,
movie, like a
maybe.
Christmas
Yeah.
Hallmark?
Larry and I, we get it.
That's the deal. That's the deal, pickle, right there.
All right. Well, guys, this was an absolute blast having you on the show. Anything you guys want to say in closing to the audience?
It was so much fun to be here, guys. You're gonna love it. Just stick with us. You're gonna love it.
It was so much fun to be here, guys. You're gonna love it. Just stick with us. No, but
good. You're good.
Okay. Well, are you ready? Now, usually I would end the show with, and remember, everybody, especially in this day and age, be excellent to each other. But I have my new way to close the show.
Okay.
Remember, everybody, real G's are silent, like lasagna.